What's up, YouTube? Georgia Silverhunter here, and today we will be hunting a bank-wrapped box of $500 worth of quarters. This is a box from one of my local Wells Fargos. I've already popped the box while I was there to make sure we didn't have all new quarters, because that's happened to me a few times. We do have a fair number of new quarters, but I see a lot of 2021s, I see bicentennials, I see lots of opportunities for W's. Both the 2019 and 2020, so I'm excited to jump into this box. If you're new to the channel, we do a lot of coin roll hunting here and occasionally venture off into some other topics like gold and silver stacking, but today we're hunting quarters, so hopefully that interests you. Stick around. Hopefully I'll earn your subscription, and we'll jump into these and look for some cool goodies buried in these rolls. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open the first roll together in case we get lucky and find some neat things, and I'll give you guys a little overview of what we're doing here today. So we are going through a $500 box of bank-wrapped quarters. These are from NF String & Son out of Harrisburg, PA. And we are looking through these quarters to find silver. That would be anything 1964 and earlier, as well as W's, which are West Point quarters, West Point minted quarters. Those things go for about $10 to $30 on eBay. We are also going to look for a whole bunch of errors, and I have a document in my description down below this video where you can look for the quarters that we'll be hunting today, like this Arizona quarter has an extra cactus. We've got the Drooling George that we'll be looking for. There's a whole bunch of them. I've been through them in other videos, so I'm not going to go through everything right now. But check out that document, or feel free to check out any one of my previous coin roll hunts. So I'm not seeing anything too special in here. That's just a cruddy quarter. And I'll go off camera. I didn't see any silver, so I will bring you in if we find anything interesting. We've cracked into roll 7, and we have, I won't say our first find, because in those first couple of rolls, I've found some of the Drooling Georges and the Crossing the Delaware die chip errors that I didn't bring you in for, because I show those off in nearly every quarter video. But this is something we don't get all the time. It is a homestead quarter, which we do see a lot of errors on. You can see we're pretty early in the roll, so we might have some more in there. But over here on the scope, you can see... And the quarter's in terrible condition. It's not something that I would flip up, but we have one of the known DDRs. And I will cover this a little bit more at the end of the video through Variety Vista. But there's a little doubling here on the window. That's not supposed to be there. And we have a little bit of the snow on the roof. You can see we started to get a little bit of the die chip here. I'll back out so you can see the roof line a little better. I would not classify this really, you wouldn't get much money for that if it was just this. Normally snow on the roof, you need much bigger die chips, but you can see where it's starting to show up there. Quickly, while I do have you in here, I'll show you the little die chip. This is one of the smaller ones, kind of back there on the back of George Washington's hat. Not supposed to be there. And the Drooling George, we've got a couple of these. These are just way too easy to find, but you can see the die chip there right around the mouth. Hence the Drooling George moniker. Same roll, just a little bit later. I've already pulled the coin. This is one of our Kansas errors. Now, normally we check these for the In God We Rust error, and that's just where the T is slightly worn off. I've never found one of these before, so the T is just fine, but you'll see I've got a bunch of die chip, a bunch of gunk here right around the I and the N. I've not seen that before. I don't know if there's a lot of value there, but I'm going to go ahead and pull it. We'll check eBay to see if there's any value in this coin. It's in decent shape, I guess. It's got a lot of bag marks. It's not pristine, but we'll hang on to it. We are on roll 33, and I've had a couple of finds, but on roll 33, it was one that was big enough that I wanted to bring you guys in. It's the first one I've found in maybe the last 2 boxes or so, but we've come across a W, a West Point mint quarter. We've got a little bit of some gunk on it. It's got some yellow stuff. You know it's a 2019 because we don't have the V75 privy on there. But look at that. It's the American Memorial Park. And if I recall, this is one of the more valuable ones. So I'm curious if that little bit of gunk there will come off with a little warm water. Other than that, it's not in like perfect shape, but I've gotten W's that were a lot worse than this. So always happy to find a W. Along the way, I have found two other errors that I want to show you really quickly. This is a very common one. This is the Arizona. Let me get it settled here. It's the extra cactus error. I find these all the time. But there it is. We have that little extra cactus or die chip over the JIM, which is the engraver's initials. So, you know, we find these in just about every single box we do. Normally we find 2 or 3. And I showed one of these off earlier. It's the Kansas. But the last one, I think, had the In God We Rust. This one is in the almost the In Odd We Rust, where the G is missing, the T is missing, and the I is fainter than it should be. And yes, you can just make out the G and the T, but it's gone enough that it would qualify for the variety or error. So definitely going to pull this one aside, and it's a bit more valuable than the one I pulled before. So we've got 2 of those on this box. So we are on the very next roll, roll 34. I just got the roll open and set it down to look through it, and I have one really, really thick edge in here. I did check it before picking up my camera to make sure I was right, and I was. We have another San Francisco Business Strike quarter. I've been finding a lot of these lately, and it is a 2018, and I've been finding a lot of 2018s. I don't know if I have a lot of the Michigans, but I think Georgia's a 2018, and I've been finding a lot of those. So this is the Pictured Rocks Michigan 2018. San Francisco Clad Business Strike. So really, really pretty quarter. Really low mintage. There's just not a lot of value in these. There's actually more W's minted than San Francisco Business Strikes, but these just don't carry the same value. It's a fine, so we'll throw it up on the board. So we have reached the end of the box, and as you can see, I've already taken the time to rewrap all of my quarters, but I did want to go through all the things we found today, and we did have a pretty good variety of finds in a single $500 box. We'll start on the easy end. We did have $2 worth of the Bicentennial Denver Mint Marked quarters. I checked them all for the DDO, but did not find any. We did have 6, it looks like, of the Philadelphia. The Drooling George, I find a bunch of these. I actually stopped looking after these 5, and I'm going to put just 2 of them here under the scope for you to see. So you can see how that Drooling George does sort of appear differently depending on which one you find. Like this one's got a little bit of a die crack and a die chip right there in the mouth. Here's one with a more traditional die chip. You can see that giant just hunk of metal there in the corner of the mouth. The value you can get for these on eBay varies by how big that chip is, and that goes the same for this George Washington that I showed you earlier in the video. I want to say this one's pretty common. Usually goes for just a couple of bucks, so nothing terribly valuable there, but in this box I only found one with this die chip. Normally I find a bunch of these. And lately I've been finding the really big die chips where it covers most of the hat. So I'm kind of excited to, not kind of excited, I should say, a little bit of a letdown that we only found one in this box, and it was one of the smaller ones. This coin's really not going to have a whole lot of value, but this is one of the DDRs, and I'll put up a picture from varietyvista.com which DDR this would be, and you can see it. Let me see if I can get my mouse over here. It's this little doubling here in the window that is the DDR. That's not supposed to be there. The really valuable ones are the ones where this pump can actually be seen in these windows, where it's actually doubled into the door, or I guess that's a window. And I have found one of those in the past, which is pretty cool. I'm just going to show one of these because we've done it in the past again, and I'll throw a value for this up on the screen. But this is one of the In God We Rusts, or In Odd We Rust errors from the Kansas quarters. Again, the quarter's in pretty banged up shape. I don't think I would try to sell this, and if I did, I wouldn't expect very much money for them, but it's still a find nonetheless. The last one, we find these all the time. It is this extra cactus variety on the Arizona quarter. Again, quarter's in okay shape, but nothing special. To bring you back over here, because we don't need the scope anymore, the real big find of this hunt was this American Memorial Park W. As you can see, I haven't yet taken the time to see if a little warm water will clean that up. The quarter's not in terrible condition, but I will say I was very, very surprised today, because it's been a while since I've actually taken the time to look this up. I'm going to have to zoom out. But this American Memorial Park quarter has gone crazy on eBay. Last time I looked, these were $30 or $40. And granted, some of these, I haven't gotten into the details. Maybe some of these are BU quality. But they're going for upwards of $60 and $70 ungraded. I mean, here's a circulated example that has got $95 crossed off, so the best offer was accepted. I'm really curious what they got. But I am seeing, values down in the 40s and 50s, which I think is a huge win for this box. Now, if that is it's a 2019 D BU, they got $2.17. I was going to say that was a W, they got ripped off. But very excited to find a W. They're always, and I've never sold any. I just know the values, and I let you guys know because a lot of people are curious, why would you hunt a box of quarters for these random quarters? There's a lot of value in some of these things, and they're in everyday pocket change. The last thing we have here is this Michigan 2018 San Francisco business strike. I'll put a mintage here on the screen, but last time I checked, a lot of these were only going for like $1, $2, $3, depending on condition, even though they're typically much lower mintage than these Ws. These Ws are just really highly sought after. So with that said, that is the end of our hunt. It was a pretty quick one. It was fun as well. I really enjoy going through these String and Sun rolls. I always have really good finds when I go through them. The customer wraps that I did recently weren't great, and sometimes I get Loomis boxes that don't have a ton in them. But these String and Suns always give me something interesting to look at. With that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, drop on down below, click on that like button. If you're new to the channel and you enjoyed this video, please click on that subscribe button and then click on that little bell so that you get notified each and every time I release a new video. I hope everybody's doing well. Summer's coming to a close. Kids are going back to school. Everyone's getting busy again. But I hope you're all doing well. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.